Industry surveys have found that nearly 1 out of every 3 drivers admits to doing one specific thing at the gas pump. That's not a quirk. That's tens of millions of people repeating a habit every single week that quietly feeds one of the most profitable little repair jobs in the business. I've been turning wrenches for over 20 years, and I can tell you the repair this habit causes has one of the highest markups I've ever written on an invoice. Because the part is small, the diagnosis sounds complicated, and the customer never connects it to anything they did. Here's what's going to sting. The mistake happens after you've already done everything right. The tank is full, the pump has finished, and then you make one small move that undoes it all. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what that move is doing inside your fuel system, why the pump was actually trying to protect you, and the fix, which costs nothing, takes zero effort, and is literally doing less than you're doing now. So here's the habit. You're at the pump, the nozzle clicks off, and instead of hanging it up, you squeeze the handle again. Maybe you're rounding up to an even dollar amount. Maybe you figure a click or two more means a few extra miles before your next stop. Maybe you just don't like the number ending in 87 cents. Click, click. Maybe a third one for good measure, then you're done. That sound you just made? Every one of those clicks was you forcing gasoline into a space in your car that was engineered, deliberately, carefully, by people who knew exactly what they were doing, to stay empty. Here's what's physically happening. Your gas tank isn't just a metal box that holds fuel. The top portion of it is designed as an expansion space because gasoline swells as it warms up. Park a car with a packed full tank in the sun, and that fuel can expand by close to a gallon. It has to go somewhere. Connected to that expansion space is a vent line, and at the end of that vent line sits a component most drivers have never heard of, a canister packed with activated charcoal. Its whole job is to catch gasoline vapor. Vapor, as in fumes, store it, and feed it back into the engine to be burned off the next time you drive. Vapor, not liquid. That distinction is the entire video. When the nozzle clicks off, it's because fuel has risen high enough to touch a sensing hole in the nozzle's tip. That click is the system telling you the liquid has reached the top of its territory. Everything above that line belongs to vapor. Squeeze past the click, and liquid gasoline starts climbing into the vent line. Do it once, on a cool day, and it probably drains back. Do it at every fill-up, the way a third of drivers do, and sooner or later, liquid fuel reaches that charcoal canister. And charcoal that's been soaked in liquid gasoline is done. It doesn't dry out and recover. Those millions of tiny pores that were built to grab vapor molecules get flooded and clogged, permanently, like a sponge dipped in wet concrete. Now here's the hidden truth, and it's the reason nobody ever warned you. That entire vapor system exists because of emissions regulations. Manufacturers didn't add it to protect your wallet. They added it because they were required to stop fuel vapor from escaping into the air. So they buried it in the car, sealed it behind your gas cap, and never bothered explaining it to the people holding the nozzle. There's no light on your dash that says vapor system. There's no page in the quick start guide about what the click means. The gas station isn't going to tell you either, and this part is almost funny. Many pumps have their own vapor recovery built into that rubber boot around the nozzle. When you force extra fuel in and it burps back up the filler neck, some of that fuel you already paid for, can get pulled right back into the station's system. You're paying to give gas back! And your dealership? A saturated canister throws a check engine light, usually weeks or months after the damage, with a code that sounds like rocket science. The service writer isn't lying when he quotes the repair. He's just never once going to say the words, "This happened because you kept squeezing after the click." But a clogged canister isn't where this ends, it's where it starts. What that flooded little box does to the rest of your fuel system over the next year is the part that turns 3 extra clicks into the number in the title, and I've got 2 trucks in this story that show it side by side. Once that charcoal is soaked, the damage stops being contained and starts traveling. The canister doesn't work alone. There's a purge valve that opens while you drive, letting the engine inhale the stored vapor and burn it. That valve was built to pass fumes. When the canister is flooded, the valve starts pulling raw gasoline and loose charcoal dust instead. Charcoal dust in a precision valve is sandpaper in a light switch. The valve sticks, sometimes open, sometimes closed, and either one sets off a chain your car will spend months complaining about. Stuck closed, pressure builds in the tank. You'll notice it as that loud whoosh when you open your gas cap, or a nozzle that keeps clicking off early like the tank is fighting the pump. Stuck open, the engine gulps fuel vapor it never asked for, and you get rough idles, hard starts right after filling up, and a check engine light that comes and goes just often enough to make you feel crazy. Then there's the smell. A saturated vapor system can't hold fumes anymore, so they leak. into your garage, sometimes into the cabin. If you've ever walked past a car that faintly smells like a gas can, there's a decent chance you just walked past a chronic topper offer. And here's the invoice math that makes this repair such a quiet goldmine. The purge valve alone ran a customer $187 this summer. The canister itself was $412 in parts on the same job. Before labor, and on a lot of trucks and SUVs, that canister is tucked up near the tank, which means real shop time to reach it. None of it is covered as wear and tear if the shop finds liquid fuel in a system built for vapor. Let me show you what this looks like in the metal, because I had the perfect pair come through my shop barely a month apart. Two Chevy Silverados, same generation, both right around 96,000 miles. The first one, the owner, hangs the nozzle at the first click every time. His wife teased him about it in the waiting room. I had his canister off for an unrelated exhaust job. Charcoal dry, loose, rattling like a maraca, vent lines clean. That vapor system would outlive the truck. The second Silverado came in for a check engine light and a fuel smell. Canister came off heavy, noticeably heavy, like a brick that's been left in the rain. Tippet and liquid gasoline dripped out of a part that should never see a drop of it. Purge valve gummed shut, vent line wet, charcoal fused into a solid block. Same truck, same miles. The only difference between those two canisters was what happened in the 10 seconds after the pump clicked. Now let me put this one directly on you. Pull up your fuel receipts. Most of you have a stack of them in the door pocket or a banking app that shows every fill-up. Look at the totals. If they end in even, round numbers, $40 flat, $65 on the nose, that's not luck. That's you, squeezing past the click to make the number pretty. The receipts are a written confession, and until 2 minutes ago, you didn't even know what you were confessing to. Quick reminder, if this is saving you money, hit that subscribe button now. It helps us keep making videos like this. Here's the good news you've earned by sitting through the bad. The fix for all of this is the single laziest repair in this channel's history, and it starts at your very next fill-up. The fix is this: when the nozzle clicks, you're done. Not done squeezing, done. Leave the nozzle resting in the filler neck for 2 or 3 seconds so the last of the fuel in the spout drains into the tank, then hang it up, cap on until it clicks, drive away. That first click isn't the pump guessing, it's a measurement. Fuel touched the sensing hole at the nozzle tip, which means liquid has reached the top of its territory, and the expansion space above it is doing its job. Every squeeze after that is you overriding an engineer who knew more about your fuel system than the guy at the next pump ever will. If the round number habit is the hard part to let go of, and for a lot of you it will be, because I've watched grown men wrestle a pump for 11 cents, flip the order. Pay inside or preset the pump to a dollar amount a little under a full tank. You get your even number, the pump stops before the click ever comes, and your vapor system never meets a drop of liquid. One seasonal note, because it matters more than people think. Heat makes this whole problem worse. A tank packed to the neck on a July morning has nowhere to put the expansion by 2 p.m., so if you only take one thing from this section, stop topping off in the summer first. The habit is bad year-round. In hot weather, it's malicious. Now, if you've been a lifelong topper offer, here's your damage check free in your own driveway. Open your gas cap and listen. A brief hiss is normal. A long, angry whoosh like a soda bottle means pressure is building where it shouldn't. Next, use your nose the morning after a fill-up. Any gasoline smell in the garage or near the rear of the car is vapor escaping a system that can't hold it. And if your check engine light has been playing peekaboo, most auto parts stores will read the code for free. If the code that comes back starts with the word evaporative, you already know the rest of the story. No symptoms? Then you likely caught this in time. The system drains slowly. Occasional top-offs on cool days often get away with it. And from today forward, the canister stays dry. You don't owe anybody a repair. You owe the pump one less squeeze. Before the numbers, let me handle the objection half of you are already typing. Your dad topped off every tank for 40 years and never replaced a canister in his life. True, and it's not because he was lucky. The cars your dad drove didn't have this system. Up through the late 80s, fuel tanks vented straight to the open air. Overfill one of those and the extra just evaporated off the filler neck or dripped down the quarter panel. Wasteful, smelly, and completely harmless to the car because there was no sealed vapor circuit to flood. Every gas vehicle built since the early 90s is a different animal. The tank is sealed, the vapors are captured, and that charcoal canister is standing at the end of the vent line whether you know it's there or not. So the habit didn't get more dangerous. The cars changed underneath it and nobody sent out a memo. That's why this advice sounds new, even though the click has been in nozzles for generations. Your dad wasn't wrong for his car. You're wrong for yours. Now let's talk about what's actually on the table, because this is where the title stops being clickbait and becomes an invoice. On one side, the fix costs you nothing. Better than nothing. You stop donating burped-up fuel back to the gas station through that vapor boot, so hanging the nozzle at the click is the only car advice I can give you that pays you at the pump. On the other side, let me introduce you to a mail carrier from just outside Tucson, Rural Route, her own 2019 Toyota Tacoma, gas station at the end of her street. Every morning for 6 years, she topped the tank to a round number. Arizona sun, doing the expansion math on top of it all summer long. It started as a fuel smell she blamed on the gas station, then hard starts after filling up. By the time it reached my bay, the canister was waterlogged, the purge valve was cemented shut, and the vent line needed flushing. With diagnosis and the labor to drop that canister out from beside the tank, her total came to $1,512. She asked me the same question you're probably asking: how can a few cents of extra gas cost that much? And the honest answer is that she never bought extra gas. She spent 6 years paying full price to slowly drown a filter. Drop a comment below. Be honest, what does your usual fill-up total end in? Around 0 or whatever the click decides. I'll know which camp you're in either way. So here's the whole video in 3 sentences. The click is a measurement, not a suggestion, and everything above the fuel line belongs to vapor. Squeezing past it floods a charcoal canister that never recovers, and the damage travels from there to valves, vent lines, and your check engine light. The fix is to do less. First click, 3 seconds, hang it up. Your challenge starts at your next fill-up. 1 click, walk away with the ugly number on the receipt and a vapor system that will outlive the truck. And if you think that's the only everyday habit quietly wrecking a system built to protect itself, the way you park is doing the same thing to your transmission right now. Click the video on the left. I'll see you there.